So this is the thing, when you're a single parent and you're trying to make ends meet for your child, that is motivation enough. Literally just applied, to be honest, on Friday Monday, and I was called for an interview, and luckily enough I passed the interview. I can just say that. No, in uni I studied electronic media, but then again I realized every time we go for interviews, either in radio stations or television, what usually happens, the interviews are for show. So we do interviews, and then the next thing, a veteran is the one who's hosting the show. So I stopped. So then I ventured into customer care. I've done customer care a lot with Safaricom and MultiChoice. And in that line, I applied for another job. So they wanted someone in customer care. And then I got the job, but it's basically something different. It's about freight dispatching, a logistics company. I can say the flexibility in the hours, because I report to work for real at 2, and we leave the office at 2 p.m. We leave the office at 12 a.m. because we work with the US time. Yeah, so in the morning I get to take my daughter to school, see her off and stuff like that, which for me is a big thing. My childhood, I can say it was split into 2. Gashie, and then shortly after we moved to Dagoretti, that is Satellite, and then that is where I studied until I joined Daystar University, before now my parents moved to Mombasa. Yeah.
Okay, so you've stayed in Mombasa for a while?
For a while, it's on and off, because now we are grown-ups and my dad is there. My mom is outside the country, but my dad is there. There's a certain age, ukifika huwezi shinda kwa nyumba ya mzazi. You have to go out there and figure your life out. Life in Daystar was good. If anything, if I was told one thing I'd want right now is to go back to those young years where I was worrying about nothing. It was more of a mix of partying, let me not lie, partying and schoolwork, and just trying to get to understand what Zoe is all about. Pathetica. What? Love life. I don't know. Love is just messed up. I'd say that for now. It's messed up. I don't know. Once when I left Daystar, I moved in with someone who was my childhood friend. You know those feelings you have when you're growing up, and then now you pick a stage, you feel like now you can do this. And this is the thing, you never know someone's character until you literally just live with them. And so 3 years we were together, 1 year I was engaged, but there was a lot of up and downs, minus the good times. There was a lot of violence. And then after I gave birth, and the violence was being like, how can I say, the violence was being directed to the baby. That's when I knew that's my time to walk away and start life on my own. Defining moment, in a good way or in a bad way? Both. In a bad way, the one time I think I saw my baby, my daughter, being hit in one of those violent escapades, that's when I realized I have to wake up. And if I continue staying there, then things are not going to be bad only for me, but for her too. Now, in a good way, I've had a lot of ups, I can call them ups. The moment, in all honesty, the moment I got the courage to write my book, because I had this idea for quite a long time, and then I was experiencing a mind block. So basically, I think I needed something that was going to push me just kidogo so that I start writing that book. So the moment I began writing that book, And in the process of writing, I started healing and rediscovering myself to some extent. For me, that was the biggest moment of my life. So my book brought me healing. My book brought me closure to some extent. In this situation, yes, partly, in my baby also. So this is the thing, when you're a single parent and you're trying to make ends meet for your child, that is motivation enough, because every day you wake up and you realize it's not about you. This is bigger than you. There's someone who's looking up to you. There's someone who's depending on you. And there's someone that if you don't wake up and push yourself, they're going to suffer. That is, I think for me, that was the biggest. But then for my book, I'd say this. The more I continued to write, the more I continued to hear myself. And in the process of hearing myself, and then I realized that if this book is helping me, if sharing my story is helping me become a better version of myself, then it's gonna help someone else out there. Did I answer the question? So I left my can I say marital? It is a marital home in 2019. 2019 was the hardest year when it came to depression, because that's when now you see the what if state of mind. You're thinking, oh, what if I had done this instead of this? What if that day he hit me, I just nyamazed? You know, the what if state of mind. You're battling your past, and for me that was the hardest time of my life. Another thing, I was jobless. So I'm looking at my life, I'm like, I'm this years old, I don't have a job, I have a baby. Now my parents are supporting me. For me that was really tough, because the things I need, things the baby needs, but you can't keep asking your parents for money. 2019 was tough. 2020 was the toughest, because I was taken to court, the child custody battles and stuff. And then that was in April. And then after the officers ruled in my favor, that's when I realized I'm drowning myself for someone who's not really worthy of my pain, worthy of my tears, you know, worthy of my stress. So by end of 2020 now I started waking up. But by then I had gotten a job, I was stable financially, so at least things were moving on swiftly. So I can say 2020, end of 2020. First I'd say, you know, single mothers especially, let's not talk about dads, because most single dads that I've met don't want to share their story with people. So if you check my channel, you'll see a lot of single moms. Most single moms go through a lot, especially once we're not financially stable. Now, the period that I was jobless, the period that I was depending on my parents, and the period that I was struggling to pick myself up, I realized that if I made it out of that whole state, then I'm so sure there are people who are going through maybe worse, and my story will kind of encourage them. And that is why you find most single mothers that I interview, I either give them shopping or any little thing that I have as a source of encouragement. And so basically what I'd say is, through my story, I wanted to inspire and just show other single mothers that single motherhood is not the end of life. You will fall, you will crack, but something has to give at some point. You can pick yourself up. What next? Tomorrow is never guaranteed. That's something I've come to understand. So what I'm hoping right now is we publish the book, we finish, becomes a bestseller. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, how I'm gonna pull it off, but through prayer and marketing, everything is possible. I write another book, and then whatever way God takes me, I'm ready to go.